In the world of true crime, there are cases that resonate far beyond the borders of the towns where they happened. Stories that capture the world's attention, spark countless theories, and leave us haunted by unanswered questions. One such case is the mysterious disappearance of Madeleine McCann. It was a warm spring evening in May 2007 in the picturesque holiday resort of Praia da Luz, Portugal. A young British family was on vacation, enjoying a much-needed break from their busy lives, but that evening would end in a way no one could have imagined. What began as a joyful family getaway quickly turned into one of the most infamous missing persons cases in modern history. In this video, we're going to take you through the key events surrounding the disappearance of 3-year-old Madeleine McCann. We'll explore the timeline of that fateful night, the intense investigation that followed, the media storm that gripped the world, and the many theories that have emerged over the years. As we delve into this case, we'll also look at the people involved, the family, the investigators, and the suspects, and try to understand why, more than a decade later, the disappearance of Madeleine McCann remains an unsolved mystery. If you're a true crime fan who loves diving into some of the most intriguing and mysterious cases out there, you're in the right place. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. And if you enjoy today's deep dive, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It really helps us out. Now grab a snack, settle in, and let's get into today's case. Let's begin with a closer look at the McCann family and their vacation to Praia da Luz. The McCann family, Kate, Jerry, and their 3 young children, seemed to have an ideal life. Kate and Jerry, both doctors, were devoted parents who lived in the quiet village of Rothley, Leicestershire in the UK. Their eldest daughter, Madeleine, was a lively and curious 3-year-old, full of energy and always ready for adventure. Alongside her were her younger twin siblings, Sean and Amelie, just 2 years old. In late April 2007, the McCann family embarked on a holiday to the Algarve region of Portugal. They stayed in Praia da Luz, a small seaside resort known for its tranquil beaches and family-friendly atmosphere. The trip was meant to be a relaxing break, a chance for the family to unwind and enjoy some time together. The McCanns were staying in apartment 5A of the Ocean Club Resort, a ground-floor unit close to the resort's amenities. The apartment was situated in a quiet area, overlooking the swimming pool and just a short walk from the beach. It seemed like the perfect spot for a peaceful family vacation. The family quickly settled into a routine. Their days were filled with sun, sand, and playtime, while their evenings were reserved for leisurely dinners with friends. Kate and Jerry were vacationing with a group of friends who had also brought their children along. Every night, the adults would gather at the resort's tapas restaurant, located just a short walk from the apartments. While the parents dined, the children, including Madeleine, were left asleep in their respective apartments. The group had a system in place, with the parents taking turns to check on the sleeping children every half hour. It was a routine that seemed to work well, providing the parents with some much-needed relaxation while ensuring the children were safe. But this seemingly idyllic vacation would soon take a devastating turn, one that would change the McCann family's lives forever and leave the world searching for answers. Thursday, May 3, 2007, started like any other day on the McCann's vacation. The family spent the day enjoying the sun-drenched beaches of Praia da Luz, playing by the pool and relishing the carefree moments that come with a holiday. But as the day drew to a close, none of them could have predicted the nightmare that was about to unfold. That evening, the McCanns followed their usual routine. After putting their 3 children, Madeleine, Sean, and Amelie, to bed in apartment 5A, Kate and Jerry headed out to meet their friends at the tapas restaurant within the Ocean Club Resort. The restaurant was just a short distance away, around 50 meters from their apartment, and close enough that the parents felt comfortable leaving the children alone as long as they checked on them regularly. The group of friends, often referred to in the media as the Tapas 7, took turns throughout the evening to return to their apartments to check on their sleeping children. The checks were staggered roughly every 20 to 30 minutes, with each parent making sure all was well before returning to the table. At around 9:05 p.m., Jerry McCann left the table to perform the first check. He entered the apartment through the unlocked patio door and saw his 3 children sound asleep in their beds. All seemed peaceful, so he quietly returned to the restaurant, unaware that this would be the last time anyone from the group would see Madeleine in her bed. At approximately 9:30 p.m., one of the friends, Matthew Oldfield, offered to check on the McCann children as part of his routine. He noticed the door to the children's bedroom was open wider than expected, but he didn't enter the room fully. Instead, he assumed all was well and returned to the group without further inspection. Then at around 10 p.m., Kate McCann made her way back to the apartment for her check. As she approached the bedroom, she felt something was off. The bedroom door was wide open. Her heart raced as she looked into the room and discovered that Madeleine's bed was empty. The window was open, the shutters were raised, and her little girl was gone. In a state of panic, Kate frantically searched the apartment, hoping to find Madeleine hiding somewhere. But the realization quickly set in. Madeleine was missing. Kate ran back to the restaurant shouting, "They've taken her!" The alarm was raised, and within minutes, the peaceful resort was transformed into the epicenter of a desperate search for the missing 3-year-old. The night of May 3, 2007 marked the beginning of a frantic search that would span continents and capture the world's attention. As the hours ticked by, the small seaside town of Praia da Luz would be plunged into a search for answers, as the McCanns faced every parent's worst nightmare. As news of Madeleine McCann's disappearance spread through the quiet resort of Praia da Luz, panic quickly turned to action. Resort staff, local residents, and fellow tourists joined in the search, combing through the surrounding areas late into the night. But as the hours passed, there was still no sign of the missing 3-year-old. The Portuguese police, known as the Polícia Judiciária, were notified shortly after Madeleine was reported missing. They arrived on the scene within hours, but from the outset, the investigation faced critical challenges. The initial response was hindered by a lack of resources and coordination. Crucial early hours were lost, and the apartment where Madeleine had last been seen was not immediately secured as a potential crime scene. In those first days, the investigation struggled to find its footing. The police worked under the assumption that Madeleine had been abducted, but other theories, including the possibility that she had wandered off on her own, were also considered. However, the local authorities were not equipped to handle a case of this magnitude, and the language barrier only added to the complexity of the situation. Vital evidence may have been lost in those crucial early hours. Meanwhile, the story of Madeleine's disappearance began to spread beyond the borders of Portugal. Within days, it had captured the attention of the international media. What started as a local news story quickly grew into a global sensation. News outlets from around the world descended on Praia da Luz, turning the small resort town into the epicenter of a media frenzy. The McCann family, desperate to find their daughter, appealed directly to the public through the media. They made emotional pleas for information, while images of Madeleine's bright, innocent face were broadcast on television screens and printed on the front pages of newspapers across the globe. The media played a dual role. On one hand, they helped raise awareness of Madeleine's disappearance, but on the other, their relentless coverage brought immense pressure on both the family and the investigation. In the weeks following Madeleine's disappearance, the media's focus shifted from reporting the facts to speculating on what might have happened that fateful night. Every detail of the McCann family's lives was scrutinized, and the investigation itself became a subject of intense debate. The lines between information and sensationalism began to blur as the case became fodder for tabloids and talk shows alike. As the investigation continued, the Portuguese police found themselves under increasing pressure to solve the case. The lack of progress led to growing frustration, and as weeks turned into months, the spotlight began to shift in an unexpected direction, towards Madeleine's own parents, Kate and Jerry McCann. The intense media scrutiny, combined with the lack of clear evidence, would soon lead to a dramatic and controversial turn in the investigation. As days turned into weeks and then into months, the search for Madeleine McCann became one of the most intensely investigated and widely publicized cases in modern history. The Portuguese police, under mounting pressure to find answers, began exploring every possible lead and suspect. However, with no concrete evidence, the investigation faced a series of dead ends, and numerous theories about Madeleine's disappearance started to emerge. In the early stages of the investigation, the focus was on the possibility of an abduction. The Polícia Judiciária questioned several local individuals with criminal records, and extensive searches were conducted throughout Praia da Luz. But despite their efforts, no definitive leads were found. The lack of progress frustrated not only the investigators but also the McCann family and the general public. As the investigation stalled, attention began to turn towards the McCanns themselves. In September 2007, 4 months after Madeleine's disappearance, the Portuguese police made a shocking announcement. Kate and Jerry McCann were officially named arguidos, or formal suspects, in their own daughter's disappearance. This decision was based on what police described as inconsistencies in their statements and forensic evidence found in the apartment and a rental car the McCanns had used. The world watched in disbelief as the grieving parents, who had been leading the search for their daughter, suddenly found themselves at the center of the investigation. The police theorized that Madeleine might have died in the apartment and that her parents could have concealed her body. This theory, however, was met with widespread skepticism, especially given the lack of conclusive evidence. The decision to name the McCanns as suspects created a media firestorm. Tabloids speculated wildly, with some outlets portraying the McCanns as victims of a tragic accident, while others implied they were hiding something darker. The intense scrutiny took a toll on the family, but they continued to vehemently deny any involvement in Madeleine's disappearance. By July 2008, after nearly a year under suspicion, the arguido status was lifted, and the Portuguese police closed their investigation due to lack of evidence. While the McCanns were cleared, the case was far from closed. The McCanns launched their own private investigation, hiring detectives to follow up on leads around the world. Over the years, there were numerous reported sightings of Madeleine from Europe to Africa, but none of these leads ever panned out. The mystery deepened and the list of potential suspects continued to grow. As time went on, several other individuals came under suspicion. These included a number of local residents, tourists who had been staying in the area, and even known criminals who had been in Portugal at the time. Yet with every new suspect in theory, the case remained frustratingly elusive. No one theory could definitively explain what happened to Madeleine that night. With the Portuguese investigation closed and the McCanns cleared of suspicion, the search for Madeleine continued, driven by a relentless determination to find answers. But as the years passed, the question remained, who took Madeleine McCann and why? Despite the initial investigation being closed in 2008, the search for Madeleine McCann did not end. Her parents, Kate and Jerry McCann, refused to give up hope and continued their own efforts to find their daughter. Their determination, along with the global attention the case continued to receive, eventually led to the reopening of official investigations on multiple fronts. In May 2011, 4 years after Madeleine's disappearance, the British government took a significant step. The Metropolitan Police Service launched Operation Grange, an extensive review of the case aimed at finding new leads and re-examining existing evidence. The team, led by Detective Chief Inspector Andy Redwood, sifted through thousands of documents, re-interviewed witnesses, and even released new age-progressed images of what Madeleine might look like as she grew older. Operation Grange led to the identification of several persons of interest and new lines of inquiry. One of the most significant moments came in 2013, when the Metropolitan Police announced that they were pursuing a new theory that Madeleine may have been abducted by a stranger as part of a pre-planned attack. This theory was supported by newly analyzed evidence and witness statements, sparking renewed hope in the search for answers. Then, in June 2020, a potential breakthrough emerged. German authorities named a new suspect, Christian Bruckner, a convicted sex offender with a history of crimes against children. Bruckner was living in the Algarve region at the time of Madeleine's disappearance, and investigators uncovered circumstantial evidence linking him to the case. German prosecutors declared that they believed Madeleine was dead and that Bruckner was responsible, though no definitive proof has yet been provided. This announcement reignited global interest in the case, but it also brought a fresh wave of frustration. While the identification of Bruckner as a suspect seemed to offer a new direction, the lack of concrete evidence left many questions unanswered. German, British, and Portuguese authorities continued to investigate, hoping to gather enough evidence to bring closure to the case. As of now, Christian Bruckner remains in custody on unrelated charges, while the investigation into his potential involvement in Madeleine's disappearance continues. For Kate and Jerry McCann, the possibility of finding out what happened to their daughter remains both a source of hope and heartache. They continue to advocate for their daughter, urging anyone with information to come forward. The case of Madeleine McCann is a reminder of the persistence of hope and the determination to seek justice, even in the face of overwhelming odds. The search for answers continues, and as investigators follow every possible lead, the world waits, hoping that one day the mystery of Madeleine's disappearance will finally be solved. As we come to the end of this story, we are left with a profound sense of unresolved questions and lingering heartache. It has been over a decade since Madeleine McCann vanished from her family's holiday apartment in Praia da Luz, and yet the case remains unsolved. Despite the efforts of multiple police forces, private investigators, and countless volunteers, the mystery of what happened to Madeleine on that fateful night in May 2007 continues to haunt us all. Over the years, the search for Madeleine has taken many twists and turns, from the initial investigation to the naming of the McCanns as suspects, to the ongoing pursuit of new leads and suspects like Christian Bruckner. Each step in this journey has been marked by both hope and frustration, as the truth remains just out of reach. For Kate and Jerry McCann, the past years have been an unending ordeal. They have faced unimaginable loss, intense public scrutiny, and countless false leads. Yet they have never given up on their daughter. Their determination to find Madeleine and to keep her memory alive is a testament to the enduring power of hope and love. Today, the investigation into Madeleine's disappearance remains open. The authorities continue to follow every lead, and the McCanns continue to appeal for any information that might bring them closer to the truth. But until that day comes, the case of Madeleine McCann stands as a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the enduring mystery of one small child who captured the world's attention. As we conclude this story, it's important to remember that behind every headline, every theory, and every suspect, there is a family that has been forever changed. The search for Madeleine is not just a search for justice, but a search for answers, for peace, and for the hope that one day the truth will be known. If you have any information that could help in the search for Madeleine, no matter how small or insignificant it may seem, please consider coming forward. And if you've been affected by this case or know someone who has, know that you are not alone. The story of Madeleine McCann is a story that has touched millions, and together, we continue to hold out hope for a resolution. Thank you for joining us as we've delved into the complex and heartbreaking case of Madeleine McCann. This story, filled with twists, turns, and unanswered questions, remains one of the most compelling mysteries of our time. It's a case that has touched hearts and minds around the world, reminding us of the importance of hope, resilience, and the relentless pursuit of truth. If you found this video informative, please consider giving it a thumbs up and sharing it with others who might be interested in true crime cases like this one. Your support helps us continue to bring you in-depth content on some of the most significant and mysterious cases from around the globe. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. We regularly post videos covering a wide range of true crime stories, both solved and unsolved, as well as deep dives into criminal psychology, forensic science, and more. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the Madeleine McCann case. Do you think there's still hope for finding answers? What theories do you find most compelling? Let us know in the comments below. Your insights and discussions are always welcome. Thank you again for watching. Stay safe, stay curious, and we'll see you in the next video.